A tremendous night on AEW Dynamite's Beach Break as Sammy Guevara becomes a two-time TNT champion, and not only a two-time TNT champion, but the Undisputed TNT champion. Plus, on NXT 2.0, Cameron Grimes is looking to go to the moon in his quest in championship gold as he defeats Tony D'Angelo to face Carmelo Hayes. It's the debrief. Rico and Jose are going to jump into all of this tonight here on Sportskeeda Wrestling. Here we go.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
It's Wednesday night, and you know what time it is. It's time for the debrief here on Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm your host, Jose G. Next to me, the top Chico himself, Rico El Glorioso, and we are here to bring you everything you need to know that went down this week in NXT 2.0 and AEW Dynamite. If you're just tuning in for the first time, give us a like, share, and a subscribe. Smash that notification bell so you never miss whenever we drop brand new content. And if you can't find us right now on Facebook because we're normally live on the Sportskeeda Wrestling channel, it's because we're on the Sportskeeda All Elite page. So make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing to that page and setting your notifications to see first. So that way, whenever we go live on the Sportskeeda All Elite page, or if there's anything All Elite related, we're going to be live on that page. Rico, how you doing, broski?
I'm doing great. I mean, I'm freezing my ass off up here in North Florida right now. Man,
it's funny because I told Kevin Kellum earlier when we were talking, I'm like, dude, it's cold down here. It's like 45 degrees like these last 2 days all day long. And he's laughing at me. 45 degrees? It's like -6 right now. And I'm like, ew.
Yeah, but this is Florida, man. We're not used to that. But the good news is we had an amazing night of wrestling tonight. Yeah, we have more beaches than Cleveland, the one beach that they have. We'll talk about that later. But, man, we are getting closer and closer to that awesome time of year, WrestleMania season. We got some great wrestling going on, especially Royal Rumble this weekend. It's hard to believe it's here already, but we do have to go over some AEW Rampage Beach Break and some NXT 2.0 stuff that went on last night.
A lot of stuff. Can't wait to get into stuff that went down. Yeah, man.
How you doing, Jose?
I'm doing good, bro. It's the week. It's the week. The road to WrestleMania is about to get launched this Saturday. It's Royal Rumble week. There's an excitement in the air. The first Rumble in 2 years with in front of people. Last year was in the Thunderdome. A lot of excitement and anticipation ahead of this weekend's premium live event. I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited to see what comes this Saturday. And also, this marks our 7th season. So our Weekends of Wrestling show returning tomorrow for our 7th season. So it should be awesome. It's going to be great. But I'm definitely looking forward to this weekend. But let's jump into what we got to talk about, and that it's AEW Dynamite Beach Break. Bro, tremendous show. I thought this show delivered from beginning all the way to the end. You had an amazing ladder match for an Undisputed Unification title to open the show. And then you have an amazing lights out match with Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy at the end to close out the show. Both matches absolutely amazing. But let's talk about and ask the question, how is Sammy Guevara still alive and walking after this opening match, Rico? How is this even possible?
These guys are ridiculous. I mean, this match could have probably gone on the Go Big show, the one that Cody Rhodes is a part of, and they do all this crazy feats and stuff. This match could have been on there, considering how many high spots that they had in this match. But the one that you're bringing up, Sammy Guevara has just – it's nice to be young, right? It's nice to be young and think you're immortal because after they had introduced this ladder that Cody had put from the ring apron to the barricade, you're like wondering how it's going to get involved. Towards the end of the match, Sammy puts Cody on the ladder. He goes up to another ladder that's already inside the ring, and he does the senton through Cody, and it just looked so freaking bad. I mean, it looked clean, like he did it with good momentum, but the way he landed and it flipped forward because of that momentum, it looked like he hurt himself. It looked like he broke himself in half. Like, that could not have felt good. even though that was probably the cleanest way of hitting that move. He is insane for what he did. He left it all out there. Him and Cody put on a great match to start off the night.
Let's talk about all these spots that we had. Let's talk about all these spots that we had in that match, because we had that tremendous cutter from the very top, that huge superplex from the top, the crossroads from the ladder. Like he should be paralyzed. How is Sammy Guevara not paralyzed after taking a crossroads from a ladder, for God's sakes? It was a good ladder match. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, this was probably one of the best ladder matches, singles or one-on-one ladder matches that we've seen in AEW.
Oh yeah, and Steven Chambers bringing up here in the chat, yeah, great ladder match. With all these ladder matches, where would this be ranked, man? When it comes to singles ladder matches, that's up there.
Hard to say, man. It's up there, yeah.
Just with how athletic Sammy Guevara is, and Cody did well to help put him over too. So, man, it's up there. It's up there when it comes to singles ladder matches. So props to these guys putting out there. Cody actually doing the job for Sammy. Because when it came down to it, they were both at the top of the ladder. Sammy winds up grabbing one of the two belts, because both of their belts had been on the bar that was hung up above the ring. And he smashes the belt into Cody's face, allowing him to take both belts off and becoming our Undisputed TNT Champion. Props to Sammy Guevara, man. Much deserved.
Absolutely, man. I think this is a great match for Sammy. Great storytelling, too. Because, we've been reminded, constantly when Cody and Sammy faced each other, that Sammy's never been able to beat Cody. And tonight was just a nice little way of Cody acknowledging that Sammy is the future. He is one of the pillars of AEW, and it was done beautifully. So where does Cody Rhodes go from here? We know he can't challenge for the heavyweight championship. Does he go back to kind of doing more, office type stuff, or did we still see him in the ring? Does he finally fully turn heel? I don't know. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comments. Let us know, where do you want to see Cody Rhodes go from here? Do you want to still see him go after that TNT title, or should that whole restriction for the AEW title be lifted and let him go after it at this point? So sound off in the comments. Let us know what you think. We'll read your comments later on in the show. We did have a tremendous squash match by the Wish version of FTR. Wardlow taking out these two guys really quickly with the Symphony of Destruction, or I don't know what they call it.
Powerbomb Symphony, and I do like what Tony Schiavone did, which me being a musician, he calling each powerbomb a movement. So every time that he hits a powerbomb on somebody, we're on the fourth movement. Oh, okay, this is Wardlow's fifth symphony. Like, I like that little bit of addition by Tony Schiavone. But yeah, I didn't even write down.
Because you're a music nerd, Rico. You're a music nerd.
Oh, absolutely. But I didn't even bother writing down these two guys' names, because they were obviously here for just to be the squash victim for this week. And for Wardlow, who continues to go on his winning ways, and this time he did stop the chairman, Sean Spears, from taking this spotlight and laying out this guy, because he told him, stay up here and I'm gonna handle this. And then he actually listened to him. So Wardlow, which is weird because we saw him later on in the night, and you're starting to feel it. You're starting to feel a little bit more of the tension between Wardlow and the rest of Pinnacle. But we'll get that and we'll get to that in a little bit. But Jose, we found out where that one beach is in Cleveland, Ohio.
I was about to ask you. I was like, hey, we finally found out where there's a beach? And I loved. I think Wrestling Inc. put up a tweet that was hilarious. Something about that there was a reason why they turned down Baywatch Anchorage. But yeah, man, I think this was actually really funny to watch, because I'm like, this whole show is called Beach Break. It's supposed to be sunny. There's palm trees. You're in Cleveland, but there's really not a beach. I mean, this is at a lake, right? This is a lake. It's not a real beach.
On Lake Erie. Yeah, it's Edgewater Beach, right there on Lake Erie in Cleveland. But I did like, it was funny because we had Tony Schiavone interviewing Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, who Ricky Starks, he's like, in full cold weather clothing. So is Tony. And you have Powerhouse Hobbs in his gear with this jacket on top of it, because you can still see his singlet underneath it. And he's got to be cold.
But he's a
really
meaty
well
man, so he gonna be okay. I'm just more concerned about Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks was dressed appropriately, and I was more concerned for. I wasn't concerned about Powerhouse Hobbs because Powerhouse Hobbs, like he was okay. Right. He just had that fur coat, and he was all right. He's all right. He's gonna be okay. He's got that body mass to keep himself warm, bro.
And Tony Schiavone's like, oh, yeah, the microphone is frozen to my hand, so I'm sorry.
Little turmoil in the Inner Circle, Rico. We had a trios match. We had the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz going up against Daniel Garcia and 2.0. Although Jericho and Santana Ortiz were able to get the win, Santana and Ortiz spent the entire match tagging each other and not tagging and Chris Jericho. So little bit of turmoil there. Jericho eventually got involved because he found himself tagging himself in order to be part of the match. As he's walking away, he found an opening, got a Judas effect. I think it was on Daniel Garcia, and Santana was able to get the win with the power driver. So turmoil. Do we see the split happen sooner than later? Is this going to be a point, or do we see them kind of go separate their own ways for a little bit and then reunite later down the road?
Yeah, man, we need Proud and Powerful to be on their own 2 feet, and they looked like they were doing a really great job. And of course, it was within the shenanigans of the last part of the match where, you know what, they had a little help from Jericho to get the win, but you know they were selling it on their face. Like Jericho's like, okay, I see how it is, but hey, you guys still needed me to get that win, so we're gonna continue to see this bubble up, I'm sure, as we get closer to Revolution. And man, I just really want to see Proud and Powerful have those tag team titles at some point.
At some point, yes, absolutely.
Just too good to not be one of the headliners in this division.
So, Rico, I noticed that we didn't get to have our AEW champion in person tonight, but we did get a vignette with him. His rivalry right now with the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, is coming right down the road. They're going to be facing each other for that title in a Texas death match. It's going to be in 2 weeks. This is Lance Archer's match, even though, didn't he lose the last one? Oh, no, he didn't. No, he beat Jon Moxley for the title in a Texas death match. So he's got very good odds here. I've been very vocal about how I feel about Adam Page right now with his title reign. It hasn't been very impressive. I'm sure he can, if he can get a massive win here against Lance Archer, that'll be big for Adam Page, but I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I still don't see him losing it just yet. I think it's one of those things where, again, they're kind of setting up Lance Archer to be a top contender against Adam Page so he can get a decisive win in his AEW championship run. I did like how Adam really did sell it in the video package when he was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to having this match against Lance Archer. And it's like, and the interview was like, oh, by the way, he did mention it's going to be a Texas death match. And then Hangman's like, wait, what? So, you know, he started showing, all right, he has a challenge ahead of him. Like, it's not going to be a cakewalk. Lance Archer, you know, like you said, this is his match, even though he might have lost one already. This is going to be his style of match. So you put the odds against Hangman on Page in order for him to get this win and have that decisive win. So I just hope they can deliver. Like, we saw what they can do with these stipulation matches at the beginning and the end of the show. I hope that Lance Archer and Hangman can deliver on that same kind of, you know, on the same.
And I think Steven Chambers here hits it right on the head on watching us on Facebook. Archer's a good opponent for Hangman, but Hangman should retain, but it should be a hard fought match. Absolutely. I think this should be a really good match for Adam Page, and hopefully this can add on to his title reign as being a successful one. Kenny Williams joining us on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, broski. Saying good shows for the past 2 days, but a lot of reviewers hating. What do you guys think, though? We're in the middle of reviewing right now AEW Dynamite, which has so far been pretty good. I thought that the opening match and the closing match were amazing. A lot of stuff in the middle, you know, that was not too bad. Like this matchup with Red Velvet and Layla Hirsch, it's a solid match. Like this women's division keeps getting better and better week after week. After the match, Layla Hirsch continued to attack Velvet. And Chris Statlander comes out to make the save after that. And speaking of the women's division, our AEW Women's World Champion, Britt Baker, came out to speak and bragged about the year that she's had being featured on Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Female Wrestler of the Year, best, breakout and most improved. So a lot of accolades for Britt Baker this year. And no one right now can touch her, besides Jade Cargill, the TBS champion. So that matchup's got to happen at some point down the line, don't you think?
Yeah, which was weird because I thought they did this whole, in the ring and braggadocious, waiting to set, somebody to come in and set themselves up as the next challenger. But we didn't get that. It was literally just a platform for Britt just to go on about a year. And she even tied in, of course, she is from Pittsburgh, home of the Steelers, and they're in Cleveland, home of the Browns, who are divisional rivals. And she did use a lot of that, local sports team to get some heat on her. But ironically, the quarterback for the Browns, his name is Baker Mayfield, and we have Dr. Britt Baker. So, of course, she was able to tie that all back in, saying, you know what? I'm going to be the champion that you guys deserve. I'm going to be the one Baker you can count on. So I thought that was a great way to wrap it all, to bring it all back. Nice little package on it, but nobody came out.
I'll be honest with you, Rico. I felt like this was less of a promo and more of a roasting of the city of Cleveland.
Pretty much.
Like just every moment that she had to take a dig, she did. And I mean, it's Cleveland. It's Cleveland.
And we got even more of that earlier on too, because so we finally had essentially the culmination of all of these verbal, jarring back and forth between MJF and CM Punk, because he came out in gear, ready to fight, calling out MJF. He kind of wrote it down like, this is exactly what's going to happen. But I'm here to say right now, I want to face MJF right here. And of course, MJF comes out and I actually like this promo from his side because he really uses a lot of CM Punk's past to really try to throw it back into the fans. Like, why are you cheering for him? He was supposed to be here in Cleveland, but he ghosted right as he was retiring. When he walked away from wrestling, he walked away from you guys, your fans. You are his fans, and yet you chanted his name months and months. And what did he do? Nothing. He didn't come back. And then he even tied into with the LeBron thing. So you're getting your hopes up right now. You're chanting his name. You're supporting him. And guess what? He's going to let you down again. Because didn't you guys have somebody named, LeBron that did that exact same thing when he came back and won the championship and then he left to go to LA? So he really did use that local sports team heat and CM Punk's own past to really tie that in, to really try to turn the fans against Punk, even though they didn't, to ultimately finally accept the match. So we are finally getting, as we knew it was going to happen, we're going to get MJF versus CM Punk in Chicago next week. MJF is so winning that match, isn't he?
I think so. I think MJF is probably going to win that match. If you're CM Punk, you're back in the business to put guys over. You're back in the business because you're already older, right? You're in the mid-40s now, right? That's where CM Punk's at. And you want to push these young guys. Again, MJF, another pillar of the AEW company. And this guy's undefeated, technically, right? He should get it. He should get that win, and that could definitely propel him to get that one-on-one match with Hangman Adam Page for the title and his eventual coronation later this year.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen. That's just me.
It makes the most sense. Yeah,
it does. It does. Moving on to our main event, the Lights Out Unsanctioned match. Adam Cole, baby, going up against Orange Cassidy. This match was wild. This match was crazy. We went all the way to the back. We got a cameo. We got a cameo from Danhausen.
Oh, it's so good, man. So unexpected, but so fucking good.
It was a fun match. I think there was every scene. This was definitely a match that you would see on a live Twitch stream while you're playing WWE 2K22, because every single finisher, every single signature, every single move that you can think that could be done on top of a foreign object was done in this match, and it was done beautifully. And then you have that end when they're both, when he just hugs him, the best friends move, and Adam goes like, I can't get out of it, even though there's still like a gap like this big, that he can clearly get out. But Adam Cole does such a great job. I was like, and his facial expressions are so good. It's like the money is perfect. He's like, I can't get out of it. And then just Orange Cassidy just takes him, throws him down, gets the win, giving Adam Cole his first loss in AEW. But it doesn't count because it was
so it doesn't
unsanctioned.
count. And we know we're going to hear that next week.
But we all saw it. We all saw it. It's on tape. It's recorded. But because it's unsanctioned, it's not going against his record.
Still undefeated when it comes to the rankings and the books of AEW, Jose. He's still number one contender.
Well, this episode of Dynamite was fun. I thought this was great. This is going to be probably my highest score for AEW because I'm going to give it a 9. The reason I'm giving it a 9, that opening matchup with Cody and Sammy was out of this world, and no lie, one of the best ladder matches I've ever seen. This unsanctioned match was really good. It reminded me a lot of when we saw the unsanctioned match in NXT Stand and Deliver with Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. That was also a great matchup. So, dude, when you have these guys opening and closing a show like this, how can you not give it a high score? And we got a title change, so I think it merits the 9.
And I'm going to agree with you, Jose. And it, not only just on these matches that we had, but remember what our 2 complaints have been, the last couple of weeks. Like, they try to put so much into the show, and it didn't feel that way. It felt like I could actually sit down, take notes on stuff I'm watching without already jumping to the next thing. I got to take note. They let these segments breathe. They didn't try to jam in, 2 backstage interviews plus a video package before you had a match. Like, no. It was very clear and concise. All right, so we got this. We come back from the commercial. This is the little video package or backstage interview, and then a good match. So, like, setting up the next contender for the TBS championship. So, coming back, it was the Varsity Blondes, which was really just Griff Garrison and Julia Hart getting interviewed. And smart Mark Sterling comes in and says, Julia, Jada selected you to be the next contender for her TBS championship. All right, cool. So now we're seeing a little bit of the heat because Griff Garrison, like, I don't think you're ready because she still has her eye damage from Aleister Black, which, like, no, you don't speak for me. And she wound up signing the papers too. So, like, we're seeing her getting a little bit of heelish. So don't be surprised if Julia Hart goes to the House of Black at some point. But we know she's going to be the number one or the next contender for Jade Cargill's TBS championship. So, like, they didn't try to cram in too much. They let every segment really breathe, understand what's going on, get a good match, and keep it going. So because of that, I think they used their time really, really well here, even though they set up a lot of stuff for this Friday because it's still Beach Break. So, but it's Beach Break Championship Rampage, essentially, because we're going to be having the AEW Tag Team Championship match. We're going to have the TBS Championship match. So we got some good matches lined up for Friday. But it didn't feel like they tried to jam too much into the show. And they bookended with 2 amazing matches with that ladder match and with the unsanctioned match. So I'm going to give it a solid 9 too. We know, though, in order to get that 10, we have to have Miro come back. So we need to have Miro versus
absolutely.
Sammy. And Miro win it.
That'll be a solid 10. That'll be, you'll see me the most excited that day when that day ever comes back. Just acknowledging some of you guys. Victor Nash, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for being in the show. Chris Aldridge, Christopher Ryan Cooper, all you guys, always the loyals, the diehard fans, thank you so much for joining us. And as we move on to our NXT part of the show, make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing right now to the Sports Key to Wrestling All Elite page on Facebook. That way you never miss whenever we go live and anything that's related to AEW. Even though the show talks about both shows, we're going to be primarily broadcasting on this channel. So make sure you're liking and setting your notifications to see first so you don't miss whenever we go live. And if you're watching us on Facebook, guys, we just hit 25K. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that. Help us get to 30K, all right? Help us get to 30K by sharing this live stream right now in your favorite wrestling group. Share it with your friends. Tag your friends in the comment section right now so that way they can join in on the conversation. And also like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube and smash that notification bell so you never miss whenever we have brand new content. We got exclusive interviews. We got every review show on earth that you can imagine. We got Vince Russo on Mondays. We got Dutch Mantel on Fridays. You got Rico and myself on Wednesdays. You got the Bro Show Thursday nights at 10:30 p.m. So a lot of content, a lot of stuff, and not to mention breaking news and news stories every single afternoon on the top story. So we got a ton of stuff for you guys to watch on an everyday basis to bring all the wrestling content that you can handle. You're about to get some more, just a lot more. So without further ado, Rico, let's jump in to NXT 2.0, second week of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Thought this week was also a pretty good week for the tournament, as MSK defeated Jacket Time to advance to the next round, and MSK is going to be facing Malik Blade and Idris Inoue, the surprise team this year of 2022's Dusty Rhodes. And I said yesterday in the chat, Idris Inoue and Malik Blade are going to win the whole damn thing. I think they are.
They're gonna like keep lucking their way into wins and then make it to the championship, and they're gonna actually win the cup. Like I'm not against it at this point, just because they're telling a great story. And I thought the backstage segment they had between them, I thought it was great. So it gave them a little bit more character.
MSK looked really good, but I just think right now with the storytelling with Malik Blade and Idris Inoue, because they've just been eating those L's ever since they made their debut on NXT 2.0. But now it's the Dusty Cup. It's a different situation, right? This is like the time for these stars to shine and really get noticed. This did wonders for Samoa Joe, did wonders for Finn Balor, So when you look at previous winners, Riddle, Pete Dunne, these guys have skyrocketed when their participation in the Dusty Rhodes. So I got my eyes firmly set on Malik Blade and Idris Inoue to go all the way. And if it ain't them, it better be the Grizzled Young Veterans, because this will be their third time. They advanced to the semis, but this will be their third time in the fight. If they can't go, listen.
If they don't win, if they make it to the finals and they don't,
I'm about to make the craziest of statements, and I hope you guys that are watching don't hate me for saying this, but listen, if GYV do not win this year's Dusty Cup, they should ask for their release.
Yeah, bro. Or they should ask
for the release, or go back to UK, because it is clear that if they do not win this year's Dusty Cup, they don't see what we see in them.
They're so talented, and they just gave them this weird gimmick of being like con artists and trying to get one over on everybody else. It's just sad, but it's going to come down to this, man. It's going to come down to them and the Creed brothers to see who's going to go up against essentially Inoue and Blade at this point.
David Barkley is quickly becoming my favorite YouTube viewer, because earlier today he's watching the top story. He's like, you know what my routine is? I roll up a blunt and watch the top story. Now, look what he's doing. He's hitting golf balls in the simulator while watching the debrief. My guy. Love you, David. Thanks for watching, guys. We love all of you. We love every single one of you that watches every single week. We got Steven Chambers here. GYV, the Buffalo Bills of NXT, losing every Dusty Cup final. Christopher Ryan Cooper. I'm not mad at you, Jose G. It's crazy if they're doing what they're doing to GYV. It's sad. So...
But you had that feeling though, right? Like if it comes out to Inoue and Blade versus GYV,
like GYV needs to win that. Like GYV needs that win more than Idris Inoue and Malik Blade, dude. Like they need to win that whole. That's their thing, man. Like they should have won that last year.
Yeah, but they had, like I said, they had that backstage where you got to really get to know, or at least a little bit, Inoue and Blade. They showed some character, they gave them more screen time, because for the second time in the last couple weeks, it has not been about the Grayson Waller effect, Jose. We've actually got to see a lot more.
Which I am shocked. I am appalled about this travesty. Why am I not getting more Grayson Waller in my NXT diet? Okay. What will you spent all these weeks giving me all this Grayson Waller? He's on Raw. He's on NXT. He's on 3/4 of the show. And today and last night, you reduced him to a 2-minute promo vignette with his new bodyguard. What's up with that?
Man, that effect wore off really quickly, apparently.
I guess so. I guess that's what happens with the Grayson Waller effect. It wears off quickly, don't it?
It seems to be that. Plus, speaking about him being on Raw, we're starting to hear rumors that we are getting a lot more interaction between NXT 2.0 and the main roster, where we might have some NXT 2.0 guys on the dark matches for both of the shows for Raw and SmackDown, and possibly getting some of them showing up this Saturday at the Royal Rumble. And one person that has been rumored for at least the women's side could be one Io Shirai, because it looks like she and Zoe Stark are not going to be part of the Dusty Cup Classic on the women's side just yet, because Zoe is still recovering from injury, and even telling Io, you know what, you should find another partner. Like, I don't want to hold you back. I don't want
no partner. Oh, what? Wait, you like me?
So you mean you like me?
No. Don't get it twisted. I love that little back and forth banter. But yeah, you can tell that Io's kind of warmed up to Zoe Stark. Unfortunately for Zoe Stark, she won't be able to participate. But dude, if Zoe Stark was 100%, I could see her easily being in the Rumble. I mean, she's got all the talent to be in the Rumble. Io Shirai, listen, the main roster can use a good injection of some high caliber talented women. Io Shirai is up there in that upper echelon. Raquel Gonzalez también, she could be up there. I am expecting Raquel to make an appearance at the Rumble. Not sure about Io, but I'm definitely expecting Raquel Gonzalez to make her way up. And speaking of Raquel and Cora, they're not seeing eye to eye. Cora's still trying to get Raquel to join her to be in the Women's Dusty Cup. Raquel's not having it because she believes that she doesn't have what it takes. She doesn't believe that Cora's at her level, and Cora believes that she is. So it looks like next week she's gonna try to prove to Raquel Gonzalez that she is on her level. So if Cora Jade beats Raquel, maybe they team up, and then maybe they become a tag team in the Dusty Classic next month. Santos Escobar, man, making his claim on the NXT Championship, man. All right, so now I know I've been throwing out some wild predictions, like Grayson Waller's going to be champion before Braun Breaker's going to be champion. That clearly didn't happen, right? That the Grayson Waller effect went away quick, right? But now we got to talk about Santos Escobar, right? We got to talk about Santos because Santos has been there for a while now, making his claim, been Cruiserweight champion, working his way up, and still hasn't gotten a major title opportunity. Now I think he's going to get it. Here's the question. If Braun Breaker makes his debut at the Royal Rumble, do we see a title change at Vengeance Day that quickly? You think so?
They are so hype on Braun Breaker and the legacy too. Just knowing, of course, at some point they're going to have to acknowledge it on the main roster too, but the lineage of him being the son of Rick Steiner and the nephew of Big Papa Pump, they want to strap that rocket to him, man, like as quickly as possible, because he is money, man. He's solid in the ring. He's fun on the mic. He's just a good personality to have. So I think they could easily do that. And I think this would be great for Santos also, because remember, he challenged for the NXT North American Championship and he never got his hands on it. He never had a chance to actually win it and get a reign for it. So imagine if he's able to skip that and go straight to the NXT Championship. I think he'd be a great placeholder until you feel ready to bring somebody up to his level, like a Grayson Waller, or if you want to do like a Tony D'Angelo, or even have him go against some like Pete Dunne that can hold on to it for a little bit just to help develop these other guys too. So I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all if we see a title change that quickly. And if it does, either at like the WrestleMania, right before WrestleMania, or even right after, Braun Breaker is gonna be on the main roster. Like it just seems like it's there.
There's a ton of hype. There's a ton of hype behind Braun Breaker. He's been able to do, raise some eyebrows on NXT and in the community. And we'll see. We'll see what happens if he does make an appearance at the Royal Rumble. I'm hoping that he gets a good pop, and I hope he gets a good reaction, and I'm hoping he gets a good showing, because who's not to say he's the one that wins the Royal Rumble? Because right now there's not like a clear
there's no clear
winner.
Favorite on the men's side.
There's no clear favorite on the men's side, right? Like we can't really predict. We're like, oh damn, like Braun Breaker or this guy's gonna win or this guy's gonna win. It's really up in the air, especially since we still got like 8 open spots or 7 or 8 open spots left until SmackDown. We'll probably get some more announcements there, but it's really just quiet up in the air right now. So this is what's so exciting about the Royal Rumble, especially this year.
Yeah. Anybody has a chance. And why not? Imagine just the shock that would be if you had a Braun Breaker debut and win the Royal Rumble and, be able to choose whoever he wants and going after, we can get Braun versus Brock versus Braun right away. Who would have thought that this could be a reality? But who knows, man? This is a great time to be a wrestling fan and even an NXT 2.0 fan, because even though Braun is the champion and we had that earlier segment with Santos Escobar to close out the show, we did have a little bit of a run-in because the most dangerous place in NXT, Jose.
Where?
Is that
where is it?
You got to be careful when you're in that parking lot, especially when you have 3 guys like Legado Fantasma facing off against one Braun Breaker, only to get scared away by old man Tommaso Ciampa. So it looks like Tommaso is going to have the back of the new NXT champion, and we're going to probably get a tag team. They should do it as a handicap match at this point. They should be 2-on-3 just because of how they're really building Braun and Tommaso. But it looks like we're going to get Legado versus Braun and Tommaso Ciampa next week, which is going to be great. And another guy that I still don't know how I feel about it right now, but Duke Hudson with his growing hair, defeating Guru Raj, but really to set up him versus Dante Chen, who wound up, coming out here and letting him know, hey, I will give you the respect. He meant to say, I'll give you the respect that you didn't give me, because I'm letting you know I'm coming after you right now, and going after him, and they started attacking. So
he shouldn't even spoke. He just got, why waste your breath in those 15-20 seconds of saying that when you could just sprint into the ring, get into the middle of the ring, and attack him while he was still attacking the other guy. Just saying. You want to make an impact? You want to make, turn people's heads? That's how you do it.
And speaking of turning people's heads, we did have the still recovering face of Solo Sikoa, which I thought great makeup.
This match was incredible, really bro. This match was awesome.
This no DQ falls count anywhere match against Boa, and man, him getting the decisive victory over the spiritual powers that Boa possesses. This is great for Solo Sikoa, so hopefully they continue to keep building on him. I don't know what they're going to do with Boa, because especially with that spiritual power, power is gone. Wendy Chu is Wendy Chu now. She's not going to be Mei Ying anytime soon. And then you have Alexa Bliss over here going to a therapist to basically get her demon powers excised. It seems like we're going away from dark powers.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. I mean, they're getting rid of the supernatural stuff. I think that's always make things a little bit more interesting. Don't forget, y'all have a supernatural character for over 30 years in one Undertaker. So I don't know what y'all thinking about getting rid of some of these supernatural characters, but no me está gustando. I'm not liking it. But you know what? Maybe Boa should see the same therapist Alexa Bliss is seeing, right? Maybe that'll help him, compartmentalize his inner demons and himself. We'll see. I don't know. I'm talking bull. We had a 6-woman tag team match. Kaylee Ray, Indy Hartwell, and Persia Pirotta defeating Toxic Attraction, with Persia Pirotta getting the pin. So that definitely is going to put them in line for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. And then we had, let's see what else we had. Io Shirai going up against Tiffany Stratton, who got her first loss in NXT at the hands of Io Shirai. Thank you. And then Diamond Mine challenging Imperium with its newly changed name to Gonta, honoring his family. Get over it, Rico. Get over it. Everybody should just get over it, okay? They dropped the last name, so we don't acknowledge it. It's Gonta. Yeah. Gonta. I love it.
So much so that we're getting video packages for Gonta on Raw and SmackDown. So they have a lot of faith in the man formerly known as Walter. And I'm excited for this, man. I'm excited. It's going to be a great match between Diamond Mine and Imperium. Malcolm Bivens continues to be my favorite manager on the mic. I think he's just great every single time he's on there. So I'm looking forward to that match, man.
What about this new found friendship between Von Wagner, joining the Robert Stone brand. I think this is an excellent move for Robert Stone. Robert Stone didn't have anything else to do, and Von Wagner can't speak on the mic, so let Robert Stone do it for him. I don't know what Robert Stone was thinking on managing some of the women. Not that I'm being sexist against it. I think that's cool, but maybe you need to find the right women to manage. In this case, Von Wagner is the perfect guy to manage because that guy is huge. He's imposing. He looks like the Geico caveman. And Robert Stone is hilarious on the mic. I think he could do some great stuff. So I'm looking forward to what Robert Stone and Von Wagner bring, as long as he doesn't get on the mic.
Just don't let him talk. Let him be destructive. Let him do what he did.
Don't let him talk.
After GYV got the win over Chase University's Andre Chase and Bodie Hayward, Von Wagner just basically destroyed them both. So,
but let's talk about Bodie. Bodie did really good. He was actually really impressive. I think that was his debut match, right? I haven't seen him in a singles match
because he didn't, unless he was on 205 Live. I'm sorry,
maybe I stopped watching that when it was good.
But yeah, exactly. But at this point, we've had him involved in stuff on storyline on TV, but this is the first time he's actually been in a match. So,
Steven said everything that what Stone touches, they end up getting released. Chris Aldridge said the same thing.
Yeah, it's not a good track record right now for the Robert Stone brand, but we'll be optimistic. Hopefully, this will be a good step for them going forward. Hopefully, they can get sponsored by Progressive and they bring back the Caveman and Von Wagner can do branding. We'll see how that goes.
So Rico, our A champion, the North American champion. Actually, no, excuse me, the undisputed North American champion, Carmelo Hayes, decided to bring a global recording artist. I've never heard of this lady, this girl before. Olivia Jay, with the whole assets out in its glory, all out there for everybody to see. The performance was not that good. I'm sorry. She didn't look like she was comfortable in front of the camera. The lip sync was not synced at all. She was holding her mic all the way out here, so you couldn't see when she was trying to rap or trying to sing. Just the whole performance was just so odd. It was terrible. I think half of the people who were watching NXT did not know who she was. And it was just, the song is cool if you weren't singing on top of it. Yeah. If you're using it in a mix, sure.
Eric Calavera saying, we had no idea who she was either, but Chris, you're right. I mean, she was absolutely gorgeous. She's a very attractive lady. And it's nice that you have Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes as your hype man. But at the same time, I was here and I was, in our group chat, I was like, we have time for this? You can have another great match or something. Why are we listening to this? That's great that this song is, for NXT. That's one of their theme songs. Cool. But why though? So we could have done something else completely. We could have had another match. We could have had Cora Jade versus Raquel Gonzalez. And to answer your question, King Deshaun, Cora Jade versus Sky Blue in a dream match. Who wins? They are the same person. I've never seen them, both of them in the same place at the same time. So as of now, I believe they are the same person. So
I just wish that Ollie J wouldn't have said, "I'm Ollie J and I am NXT."
No, you're not. I never know who you are.
No, sorry. Now she's probably gonna go viral on Twitter and there's probably gonna be a trend on TikTok where people are gonna play that, and then wrestling fans from all over the place are gonna be like, "No, us from the NXT universe kindly reject this person from being all NXT 2.0. Thank you very much." So I don't know. I don't know. She's doing a Milli Vanilli. God, wow.
She's doing an Ashley Simpson on SNL right now. That's kind of the vibe that we're getting. But
that's a time. That's a reference. Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
That's how old we are. But all that aside, this was to set up the main event of the evening. It was the number one contenders match for the A Champions Undisputed North American Championship. We had Cameron Grimes, baby, going up against Tony D'Angelo. Hey, And this was an enjoyable match, man. Like, these are two guys that the crowd are firmly behind. And it looks like he's still not done with Petey Poppins, because Pete Dunne happened to make his presence felt once again, basically aiding Cameron Grimes in order to attack Tony D'Angelo. But Cameron Grimes, he's not just going to the moon, Jose. He's going to the number one contenders match. He is going to be facing off against Carmelo Hayes for that North American Championship. So do we see it? Do we see Cameron Grimes finally getting gold outside of the $1 million championship? Because that doesn't really count. But do we see him finally hold gold in NXT?
Do we even consider the $1 million championship at this point with the rebrand canon? Like, did that even happen? Like,
it's what it was. It's, you know how Dragon Ball Z, you have the actual cartoon and then you have the movies. That's what that is. That was like the Attack of Cooler. Like, that's what that was. That wasn't mainstream version of it. It was kind of like a side story.
It's like a little branch off, still part of the universe, right?
It's still part of the universe. It's just
still canon. So it's canon. Okay, fine. We'll consider it canon.
If you want to believe it, that but it was just a side quest. It's a side quest over here.
Yeah. We'll call it canon. I think this is gonna be good. I think Cameron Grimes is due for a major title now. I think the NXT North American title could be his catalyst, but right now, bro, Carmelo's
too good, bro.
Carmelo's
trick are too good.
Mm-hmm. They're very good. They're entertaining. He's really good inside that ring. I just don't see anyone right now taking that title off of them. That's, maybe like a Pete Dunne could probably take it off of them at some point down the road. An LA Knight, but LA Knight, I think, is coming up to the main roster real soon.
He is so showing up on Saturday.
I hope he gets a pop, bro. I hope he gets a loud pop, bro. I think the fans are. I think the fans are going to be so. They're going to. All of them are going to lose their voice on Saturday.
You just hear LA Knight. Like,
yeah,
it's going to be a great moment for him, man.
I think so, man. I hope so. Can't wait to see it. But as always, at the end of our shows, we always review NXT 2.0. This week wasn't too bad. It wasn't as bad. I think last week was one of the lowest ratings we ever gave it. This week, although we didn't have any championship matches, we got some solid stories. We do know what the next major event is, which is Vengeance Day. Same week as Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia, which is in a few weeks. So I think with that being considered, we did have some solid Dusty tag team matches in the tournament. So I think I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think a 7.5 is fair. Nothing like really eye-opening this week for me. It was just a little bit more of the same, but just, you're starting to bump up the temperature on the stove and bringing it up to a simmer as to boiling hot. So AEW was boiling hot tonight. This was simmering. 7.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7. I'm gonna agree with Steven Chambers here. Like you said, nothing really stood out. They had some solid matches. I guess it's interesting to see where Cara Jade and Raquel are going to go, because more than likely they're going to be that team that, the butting heads, but they wind up being a team for the Dusty Cup. So we'll see how that goes. I do like what they're doing with Persia Pirotta, especially. Like, they are making her into be somebody big. So I would not be surprised if her and Indy go far in that tournament, but don't win it. But it's going to be a nice launching pad for Persia. So I'm more on the lookout for what she can do coming out of this, even though she did team up with Kaylee Ray to go up against Toxic Trash. And we know it's going to be Kaylee Ray versus Mandy Rose, most likely, for the NXT Women's Championship. But they keep doing really well developing her. And I'm looking forward to, this Braun Breaker, Tommaso Ciampa, enemies now becoming friends to go up against Legado Fantasma to get the eventual match between Santos and Braun. So they have, like you said, they're setting this, they're putting it on the stove. They're letting it warm up. They're starting to build towards these good matches. So it's a good starting point, but there wasn't really anything as big like a ladder match for unification or an unsanctioned lights out match. So when you compare those two, it's definitely going to be a big difference.
I mean, AEW gave us a pay-per-view caliber show today, and NXT gave us an NXT show. It wasn't a pay-per-view show, because when NXT gives you a pay-per-view show, it's a pay-per-view, or it's that type of show.
Like we'll go home heading into that next.
Yeah. So exactly. So. it was just something that you would expect now on a weekly basis from 2.0. So not bad, just it's okay. It wasn't too bad.
Cool.
All right, guys. So that is it for tonight's show. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight here on the Debrief. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and follow our new Sportskeeda Wrestling, the Sportskeeda All Elite page. All right, very important, you guys. Make sure you are liking and setting your notifications to see first, because whenever we have a AEW pay-per-view review, we're going to be doing it on there. We're going to be reviewing the debrief is going to be on there. So make sure you are liking and setting the notifications to see first, so you never miss whenever we go live. Same thing with our YouTube. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing, smashing that notification bell so you never miss whenever we drop brand new content. We got new interviews. We got Dutch Mantel, Vince Russo, myself, DDP, all those guys. We got tons of content for you guys. So make sure you are watching and just enjoying all the hours of content that we provide to you guys for free. You guys don't even have to pay for it. You guys don't have to pay for a Patreon. You don't have to pay for no subscription service. You get it for free. You get it for free. So the least you guys can do is engage with the show. Like, give us a heart, give us a laugh emoji, give us an angry emoji, share, love it. And most importantly than anything, enjoy it. Because that's the important thing you got to do is enjoy wrestling, right, Rico?
That's right. That's what we're here for. Right. We're here to enjoy wrestling.
That's it, guys. So for Rico El Glorioso, I'm Jose G, and we will see you guys next week here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling Channel. And we are out. Good night.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!